The truth behind Ronaldo's Al Nassr contract. At the end of 2022, the football world witnessed one of the most surprising transfers in modern history. Cristiano Ronaldo, a player who had spent nearly 2 decades dominating European football, suddenly made a decision that few people had expected. Instead of joining another elite club in Europe or moving to Major League Soccer like many aging stars before him, Ronaldo signed a historic contract with Al Nassr, a club from Saudi Arabia. The announcement immediately sent shockwaves through the global football community. Fans, analysts, and journalists around the world began asking the same question. Why would a world-class player who had already achieved everything choose this path? Ronaldo had built his legacy in the most competitive leagues on the planet, winning trophies in England, Spain, and Italy, while breaking countless records along the way. Moving to Saudi Arabia seemed, at first glance, like a completely different chapter. But the real story behind that decision was far more complex than many people initially realized. Before the move to Al Nassr was officially confirmed, Ronaldo had already experienced one of the most turbulent periods of his career. His second spell at Manchester United had ended in controversy after a dramatic interview shook the relationship between him and the club. Suddenly, the future of one of the biggest icons in football became uncertain. Rumors circulated constantly, linking him with clubs across Europe, yet none of those possibilities truly materialized. At that moment, Al Nassr appeared with an offer unlike anything football had ever seen before. Reports suggested that the contract would make Ronaldo the highest-paid football player in history. The numbers were staggering, reaching close to 200 million euros per year when all aspects of the agreement were included. For many observers, it sounded almost unbelievable, as if the sport had suddenly entered a completely new financial dimension. Yet money alone was not the only factor shaping this historic decision. Behind the headlines and the massive figures was a broader vision involving not only Ronaldo's career, but also the ambitions of Saudi football itself. When Ronaldo's move to Al Nassr became official, the headlines focused almost entirely on the extraordinary financial details of the contract. Media outlets around the world repeated the same astonishing number, describing a deal worth nearly 200 million euros per year when all aspects of the agreement were included. The figure immediately turned the transfer into one of the most discussed topics in global sports. Yet the contract was far more than a simple salary agreement between a player and a football club. Saudi Arabia had been working quietly for years to expand the influence of its domestic league. Investments in infrastructure, youth development, and international partnerships had already begun to reshape the country's football landscape. Signing a global icon like Ronaldo represented a powerful step in that larger strategy. For Al Nassr, bringing Ronaldo to the club instantly transformed its global profile. A team that had previously been followed mainly by regional supporters suddenly became the center of worldwide attention. Social media numbers skyrocketed. International broadcasters began showing league matches more frequently, and millions of fans who had never watched Saudi football before started paying attention. Ronaldo's presence alone changed the perception of the league. For Ronaldo himself, the move represented something different from the final chapters many players experience. Instead of slowly fading from the spotlight, he stepped into a role that allowed him to influence the growth of an entire football project. His arrival did not simply add a famous name to the league, it created a moment that shifted global focus toward a new football market. That is why many insiders later described the contract as more than just a transfer. It was the beginning of a much larger transformation. As weeks passed after Ronaldo's arrival, the true impact of the contract began to reveal itself in ways that went far beyond the initial headlines. Stadiums across Saudi Arabia started filling with larger crowds, many of whom were eager to witness Ronaldo play in person for the first time. Television audiences also increased significantly, with international viewers tuning in out of curiosity and excitement. Clubs within the Saudi Pro League quickly realized that Ronaldo's presence had created a new level of visibility for the entire competition. Sponsors began showing stronger interest in partnerships with Saudi teams, while global media outlets started covering league matches more frequently than ever before. For a competition that had previously struggled to gain international recognition, the arrival of one of football's biggest superstars became a turning point. The ripple effects extended beyond Al Nassr itself. Soon after Ronaldo's transfer, other well-known players began considering similar moves to the region. The league's reputation as an emerging destination for experienced stars started growing rapidly. Within a short period of time, the Saudi Pro League transformed from a relatively quiet competition into one of the most discussed projects in world football. For Ronaldo, the decision also carried a personal dimension. Throughout his career, he had always embraced challenges that allowed him to prove his influence on the game. From England to Spain to Italy, he had repeatedly demonstrated that his presence could elevate a team and reshape the narrative around a league. Saudi Arabia presented another stage where he could leave a lasting impact, and that was exactly what he began to do. Looking back, Ronaldo's historic contract with Al Nassr represented far more than a record-breaking salary. It symbolized a moment when football's global landscape started shifting in unexpected ways. A move that initially surprised many fans eventually became one of the most influential transfers of the decade. For Ronaldo, the deal allowed him to extend his career while stepping into a role that combined sport, influence, and international visibility. He was no longer only a player chasing trophies in Europe. Instead, he became a central figure in a project aimed at expanding football's reach into new territories. That impact of that decision continues to shape the sport today. Since Ronaldo's arrival, the Saudi Pro League has attracted more global attention, stronger financial investment, and a growing list of internationally recognized players. While debates about the league's long-term future continue, few people can deny that Ronaldo's contract played a major role in accelerating its development. Moments like this show how a single decision by one player can influence the direction of an entire sport. When Ronaldo signed that historic agreement with Al Nassr, many people believed it was simply a surprising transfer near the end of an extraordinary career. In reality, it became something much bigger, a turning point that reshaped conversations about where football could grow next. And that is the real truth behind the contract that shocked the football world.